باسم غرفة الرياض ممثلة بلجنة التسويق نرحب بالجميع على إعطائنا وقتكم الثمين والحضور لغرفة الرياض للاستماع إلى أحد المحاضرات المقدمة من لجنة التسويق، وهي عن التسويق الرياضي من الشغف إلى ثورة الأعمال. هذه المحاضرة الحقيقة من المحاضرات المهمة في هذا التوقيت مع التحولات اللي نشهدها في الرياضة السعودية والتحول القادم من الترفيه إلى الاستثمار، وأنها تكون صناعة للرياضة في المملكة العربية السعودية. اليوم شرفنا السيد لاندر، وهو الرئيس التنفيذي لمجموعة ABG وكبير مدراء التسويق بنادي برشلونة الأسباني ومدير عام جمعية نادي برشلونة الأسباني سابقا. كذلك السيد لاندر قام بإنجاز عظيم، وهو رعاية اليونيسيف لنادي برشلونة كأول نادي رياضي في تاريخ الكرة ينفذ هذا النوع من الرعايات مع منظمة عالمية، وهذا جهد كبير قام فيه السيد لاندر يشكر عليه، وإضافة للرعايات أنها تكون تقدم بمحتوى جديد وصناعة جديدة عن المفهوم السابق. غرفة الرياض ترحب بكم وممثلة باللجنة، وهذه أول باكورة الفعاليات المطلقة 2017 في التسويق، فإن شاء الله نراكم في الفعاليات القادمة أيضا في التسويق وأساسيات التسويق والتسويق الفعال والتسويق الإلكتروني والتسويق الشبكي. ففعاليات كثيرة حتكون قادمة حزمة فيها هذا العام، ويشرفنا حضوركم فيها جميع الفعاليات، وبإذن الله حيكون تواصل اللجنة معاكم من خلال تسجيلكم اليوم بالتواصل برسائل SMS. فنرحب بالسيد لاندر ويتفضل مشكور للبدء في المحاضرة. الأخوان اللي عنده لغة المحاضرة حتكون باللغة العربية ما عدا السيد لاندر، الترجمة موجودة أجهزة، اللي يبغى جهاز الأخوان يسلمونه. تفضل سام. اللغة بالإنجليزية حتكون. طبعا بعد نهاية المحاضرة حيكون في وقت للاستماع لكم وتوجيه أسئلتكم مباشرة للمحاضر، حنستقبلها بعد ما ينتهي من الورقة إن شاء الله.
شكرا. Thank you. Well, first and foremost, let me thank Riyadh Chamber for having us, Dr. Sultan for inviting us to this wonderful place and environment, and thank you to all of you to come for this chat. I've been asked to not to do the lecture in 2 hours because it seems that there is an important match today, so we are going to run a little bit. And okay, the other thing that we are going to have fun. I'm Lander Unzueta, the CEO of Arkham Business Group. We are a Saudi company specialized in sports and events and exhibitions management. And a little bit the goal of today, when I was asked, to make a lecture on sports marketing, we were wondering if sports marketing, it was something already known. Sports marketing is a very wide subject. We can talk about all those elements here, and we will spend months and days. There are just courses and lectures, just dedicated to that. So what I was wondering is, okay, let's gonna focus on a couple of issues that after knowing how the class and the sports and people dedicated to a sport, I thought that 2 elements were specifically key to discuss and to have a chat along with you. Sports marketing, to make it very simple, is marketing plus passion. You're going to say, well, this is, we're not going to make a lecture just to say that. No, of course not. Of course not. We know, is the marketing committee, and all of you, I've been discussing with you. I'm seeing very known faces, dedicated and devoted to marketing. Marketing is marketing. The only thing is that the sport industry, and the difference is that there is one element that is passion. Let me change that by this. Let's gonna say that, you know, sports marketing is a business where we have branding, and funds. Okay, that changes a little bit. There are many things. We are still doing something very simplistic, but let me talk to you about brand and branding. There are plenty of concepts. Let's going to talk about funds, and let's going to talk about business. In 25, 30 minutes, we're going to run, because you know, it's not a big time, you know, to discuss, but we hope that we can have a good exchange afterwards. Just a point, because we saw this boy, that the boy, you know, is from Everton. This little boy is with plenty of passion. This little boy is full of garments. You know, the parents, they bought, you know, the jersey, the pants, the trousers. They bought the full equipment, the full merchandise. And, you know, he's a fan. He's supporting. So the strength of football is one of the best things that we have in our hands. And we know that Saudi Arabia, you know, football accounts for a lot. This is a chart that I was presenting when I was general manager of the foundation, you know, when we were doing, you know, the UNICEF deal, that for the first time, you know, we put that in the jersey of FC Barcelona for more than 100 years. And why I did that? I did that because I was saying, listen, this is 5, 6 years ago. So in that time, there were around 250 million people that football, you know, it was something that they say, I like it. In an intensive way or in a less intensive way, but they liked football. There were another 50 million people that they said, you know, we love Barcelona. From fanatics to people that just say, oh, I saw once a match and I like it. I like the colors or I like the logo, whatever. FIFA, you know that this is the institution that rules the football. Worldwide. 208 countries are members of FIFA, right? Do you know UNICEF? UNICEF is under the umbrella of United Nations, is the institution that, you know, veils for the safety of children, very simply. I bought, to make the emotion, because the sport is also a passion, but is also emotion. So, here's one pennant. I'm going to give a quiz. Who is able to tell me how many countries are members of UNICEF? Yes. 190. No. 96. No. No? No? 100? No? A bit more? I'm going to help. 208? No?
204.
No.
Less than 208.
Easy, you are in marketing, huh? You are a marketer. I know the guys are in marketing. I think there is a lady over there that she said 162, right? You said 162. That would be for you. 100, and it's not cheating. It's just being, you know, I'm a gentleman. 162 countries. Why I'm saying this? I'm saying this because the first time that I heard that, I was completely shocked. I was shocked. I love football. I love Barcelona. But, you know, children are children. Children are our future. And I was saying myself, how come there are more countries member of FIFA than countries member of UNICEF? I couldn't understand that. And the answer it was the strength of football. So we have to be positive. And let's say, well, this is not, no. Let's use football. Let's use football for the many things that, you know, we can use to help children and to many things. Today we will talk about sport and we will talk football. We will talk about many other things that is not the normal sports business, and you will see at the end of the presentation. The important is that sports could be competition, but sports is also the best tool to use with children, with families, to do active practice and to have fun. And this is something that we should never, you know, be tired to repeat. People, they have to be active. People, they have to be a sport. And through this exercise, they will come to the competition. But let's not forget. Okay, 162. We were saying that, you know, marketing, we are going to talk about branding. Many times, you know, back in the 90s, sports managers, they start realizing that their clubs, they were something more than clubs. They start realizing that the clubs, you know, they could be a business. They were looking at the bottom line at the end of the year, and they say, oh, we made money. They didn't split the money. They didn't split the profit, because clubs at that time, they were associations. So they put the money and they reinvested in better players, something that sounds very familiar to people that is involved in clubs. You know, what happened with that? You know, across the different years, most of the marketers in professional clubs now, they realize that the most important is the strength of the brand. And this is what we have to discuss. Why is important? It's important because, you know, this is our life. This is our day-to-day. At the same time, we love sports, but we are consumers. We are customers. So we are customers in, you know, plenty of different industries. And what that says that every day we have to make selections, either as a consumer, either as a sports supporter, either in the other side of the table as a company. We need to make a choice. And to make a choice, that means that we need to make a selection. So in the case of companies, what we have to do? We have to differentiate ourselves. If I'm from a company, if I'm selling shoes, I have to make that my shoes are different from the others. Not only for the image, not only for the quality. I have to find something. On the club side, happens the same. What is the important on that? And this is what we are talking about, branding. It's very important that not only in companies, but as well in clubs, we look at our values. We look about the story that we have. If we can explain a storytelling, if we have a special history, it's important that we look at our personality. All those elements is what are going to bring, you know, the brand identity of the club. And this is a key word. Every day, if you are in marketing or you are interested, you will hear about branding, brand equity, brand strategy. The most important is to say the brand identity. We are not going to buy shoes or a car and say, oh, you know, the brand identity is a car. No, we don't say that, because brand identity is something that is work across the years, across the time, and that comes in our brain. We don't realize, but at the moment that we make a choice, it's because there are all those elements here. There are all those elements that, you know, comply into the brand identity. And what for? Because the brand identity is going to bring us the image, and then it's going to bring us the value. 10, 15 years ago, there were not many companies making an analysis on a sport. That comes from a company called Brand Finance. They do analysis on football, in other industries as well. But you know, what it was interesting on this, it was to look at this element here. I know that you don't see, I put it a little bit bigger. And here we are seeing that the number one is a club that all of you know is Manchester United. Number two, Madrid, Barca, Manchester City, that's fine, but that's something strange to you, or do you think it's normal? When I look at that, I would say, okay, you know, if you look at the titles of Manchester United, they haven't won something important in the last 2-3 years. They got, you know, a Champions League in 2003, European Super Cup in 91. Of course, you know, they got, you know, the cup, the English Premier League Cup, you know, in 2016. But it's not a major title. However, they are ranking number one. Why this? Why this? And this is the most important, is because the brand identity and the brand value that they have is very important. And this is what all the marketers in the club, they have to do. They have to work on the brand identity. They have to work to make that the level of the club goes up. Nothing to see with the money, nothing to see with the titles. All of that is important. But it's important, you know, it's a long-term job. It's a long-term job. But this is something that at the moment that you achieve that with like Manchester United, is a good job. This is the analysis that they did. You know, every company can do a different analysis. But at the end, what is important is to talk about brand value. Brand value is the same as a brand equity, okay? Why happens this? That happens because, unfortunately, you know, most of the football clubs, they are focused on the very, very short term. I know that. I've been in a club that was important. The day-to-day is like a roller coaster. It's a roller coaster. If you are winning and the ball goes into the score, this is wonderful. But you know, when it's not the case, is a problem. And so, what is important when we are talking about branding? That we have to try to have a safety net that in case that the results on the field doesn't go that well, you know, the fall down is not going to be not that much. That's what happens with Manchester United. You know, they are not having, you know, the best results. They are not winning a Champions League. They are not winning, you know, the Premier League. But, you know, the level is very good. They work on the brand. They work on the international. They work on the match day. This is what clubs, they have to do. This is a general structure of a club. Doesn't matter that it's football, doesn't matter that it's basketball, doesn't matter that it's camel racing. You know, in a club, there is a part that is governance. Those are the ones that are ruling the club, or ruling the team. They are in charge of the management. There is sales and marketing. They are taking care of the sponsorship, ticketing, and so forth. There is operations, the match days, the fan zones, you know, the tours. There is the sport team. Here is this is the big change. You know, the clubs, if even we make it more simple, is the guys that are running and making goals, and then the ones that are taking care of the business, taking care of that. What happens, and you know, this is something that, you know, to me sometimes surprises me, is that, for example, in Saudi Arabia, we see, and you know, when you generalize saying something, sometimes we are forgetting. There are always exceptions, and there are even exceptions here. But when I look to the many clubs here, I'm seeing a pretty good level of professionalism into the player side, into the team side. Good players, coach, second coach, professionals, sometimes foreigners, good doctor, good physiotherapist. This is okay. They can do better, they can do a little bit later. That happens in all the teams. But when you look at the other side, when you look at the business side, what happens? Plenty of volunteers. That's lovely. I'm not saying anything. You know, volunteers, all of them, they are welcome. All of them, they are welcome. But it's important that, you know, clubs, Saudi clubs, they start professionalizing that. Why? Because if you do not have a sales and marketing department, you're not going to be able to work on this. If you do not have a common PR department, you're not going to be able to work on this. And at the moment that you are defined, you know, the brand identity, this brand identity has to go, you know, elsewhere, has to go in every place, even to the players, even to the players. I didn't put the picture here, but I remember visiting a club. I think it was an Italian club. When you were entering into the locker room, there was a big picture that was saying, remember that the sponsor is paying your salary. So don't do that. And you know, the picture, it was a player, you know, when they score a goal, that they take the jersey and they put it behind. And they were saying, you know, the sponsor is paying your salary. So let's pay attention. All of that is part of the brand identity. This is an example. I'm going to put you those examples, two examples. You know, one is from Barça, for you to realize, you know, what it was. Those were the elements. Thank you. Those were the elements of our identity. Barça is known to be more than a club, but not only to be a football club. You know, we have basketball, handball. We have 15 different sports, 5 completely professional, completely, you know, basketball, football. We are specialized and we are known, and this is part of our identity, that the club belongs to the members, to the socios. We are known because our solidarity side, because we said children for us is important, and at that time that we made for the first time the UNICEF in our jersey, that was an innovation. It was an innovation because people, they were saying, oh yeah, it's nice sponsoring. Say, no, this is not a sponsoring. Because, you know, UNICEF is not paying us. We are paying, you know, $1.5 million to UNICEF every year. So that was a change. But that fact, what did, it was to increase our brand identity. Let me give you an example. We were in New York, in the United Nations, because the signature of the agreement, it was done in New York. And I remember that at the end of the event, there was a lady, a black lady. She was cleaning the house. And she came to me and she said, "Are you from Barcelona?" I says, "Yes, Mom, I'm from Barcelona." I said, "Listen, I don't know anything about football, but I was listening what you were doing, with kids, and, for me, if ever and someone is asking me which is your club, I'm going to say Barcelona." Those facts is what is increasing, the strength with your fans. And this is what clubs, they have to start doing. We know things cannot be done overnight. A club is going to call us and going to say, "Hey, can you help us to the brand identity? Can we have them by tomorrow?" No, by tomorrow, no. But I know, because something like that happens once. Hussein, we need a strategy. Can you make a strategic plan for us? Okay, we can start working. When do you need it? In 2 weeks. Well, no, I'm sorry. We will do it later. Okay. Global identity. You know that we are Catalan. Probably if you are familiar, for us, we are very Catalan. Barça is very Catalan. And then economics. For us, it's not only to play well, or we try to play well. It's very important as well that we professionalize every department within the club, because you not only make money signing sponsorships, you make money as well doing the rationalization on the expenditure. Okay? I was talking about Barcelona, but I want to give you another example, because if not, people say, "You always talk about Barcelona." They are right. Borussia Dortmund, great club, great German club. This is a presentation that they did us, a while ago. And they were saying the brand identity is the basis for us. Everything we do, communications, promotions, everything we do is based on the brand identity that we have worked. Someone might say, "Okay, but how we do this of the, please, how we do this of the brand identity?" But there are no secrets. This is not we are going to open a drawer and we are going to find the brand identity. Analysis, market research. A club is like a company. You might be working in companies, they do a market research, they do an analysis on consumers to know what the consumers want, what they want to do, which is the price, which is the positioning, what is the segmentation. Market analysis is going to tell us what we were saying, just a few minutes ago. Which is our personality? What is our image? What is our value? So when we discuss, just to close a little bit, this chapter, and those are examples of Borussia Dortmund. And you see here, they said, we start doing, brand feeling ranking, and in few years, we went up. Let me just finish this chapter of branding. What branding is? Branding is what we are. But not what we are, I might say, I'm thin. I say that I'm thin, and he's going to say, you may say whatever you want, but you are not thin. Okay? 20 kilos ago, it was different. We are what we are, but from an objective point of view. We are the branding, the brand identity is what we are, but especially what the others see from us, what the others feel from us. And this is applied not only for the sports, this is applied for whatever company. Let's move into the other element. We start saying that the sports marketing, it was marketing and passion, and then we turn it and we said business is equal to branding and fans. Okay, if it's not the most important, this is one of the most important. Fans are the most important ingredient, not only for the sports, but as well for companies. Fans in a business, in a normal business standpoint, is customers. What a company will do without customers? They will do nothing. And the difference between a customer and a fan is that a fan is what in marketing we call a captive customer. Captive customer is what? Today is an important match, Hilal, there is another important team in the city, Nasser. Imagine that Nasser is putting all the jerseys now 50% discount. Do you think that, Hilal customers, fans, they are going to buy, the jersey fans? No. Why? Because, you know, who is from one club is not from the other. This is a captive customer. Captive customer implies that is our life. You know, if the tickets are high, we will buy the tickets high. If the club is losing, you know, we will continue losing. There is always a joke, and I always say that the difference of a club is that you may change the brand of your car. You are driving a BMW, you like Ferrari, you move into Ferrari. You may change the cigarette brand. I was smoking Winston, I'm going to smoke Marlboro. You can even change your counterpart. You can change the wife or you can change the spouse, even to that. But you don't change your club. Have you ever, do you know someone changing the club? Okay, always exceptions, always exceptions. It's difficult because this is something that you extract. That's part of the DNA of everyone. This is what we have to, so fans is the key of the clubs and unfortunately not only the key in the attention, but we will see that. To know the fans, clubs, they should, probably they know, I don't know, but they should, they must know who are their fans, who they are, from where they are, why they are fans, which is the relationship that, you know, links the fan to the club, because that changes. This is what makes, you know, the fans going into something that is important, that is the interest for a club. There was a lady winning one of the pennants. This is the second question. There is a very high interest on football. There is a very high interest in the sport. This is done by Repucom. Repucom was bought not long time ago by Nielsen. Nielsen is a great company on market research. So Repucom now is Nielsen Sport. So that was an analysis done by them. Do you know which is the position of Saudi Arabia worldwide in terms of the population for the interest of football? Okay, another pennant for Barca. Who knows? What is the position?
One of the top 10.
Ah, thank you. You're a marketer as well, huh?
Yes,
Good.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 3, no?
5.
5, no?
70%?
No?
15.
No?
Let's say number 1.
8, no? No?
9.
No? You said 3 times numbers, huh? At the end you're going to win the pennant, huh? Okay.
I love Barca.
Okay.
The last 4.
Okay, another lady said the number 4. Okay, she won. There's another lady that won another pennant over there. Listen, you're not going to see it. Okay, you're not going to see it, but Saudi Arabia is the number 4 country worldwide in terms of football interest. Did you know that?
74% population, or 74% what? Population?
Interest, yeah, 74% of the population is interested in football. They may follow more and they may follow less, huh? Because when we talk about, we will call Repucom. We will call Repucom. This is Repucom. I can forward to you this study. I can forward to you, okay? I always put the source, huh? Because, you know, first there is an intellectual right that has to be maintained, and this is because the guys, you know, they are spending money and people to do that, so it's important that you to know. So this is the global interest of football by countries, okay? Number 4, Saudi Arabia. In terms of global participation, that changes, goes much down, okay? So in terms of football, they are saying, it doesn't mean competition, it means people that go into the street and they play. So this is what changes, but this is not the important. The important is, okay, we realize that fans are important, that we need to know who our fans are and why they are fans. We need to know what is the relationship that is linking and binding, you know, the fans to the club. But, you know, what the clubs do, clubs, federation, what the clubs do with their fans. Let me see with this example, let me see if you agree with this or not. You want to buy a camera, you want to buy a Nikon, okay? Before buying the Nikon, you see plenty of brochures with shiny, colorful, good quality paper, very sexy. Huh? That sounds familiar, huh? What happens when you have bought the camera? and you open the box. You have this. Is it right or not? When you open the camera, you take the manual. Well, the manual is boring, so nobody reads the manual, because there's no, it's black and white, it's not color. So this is an example of, what happens as well with the fans and with the customers. So once the clubs, they realize that they want to attract and they want to get and they want to have loyalty, they do nothing later to keep them, to retract and to have them there. If we ask the fans, this is Deloitte, okay, Repucom, this is Deloitte, and this is Deloitte done in a general sports sector. It was mainly based in the US. What the fans are expecting from the clubs? What they are expecting is engagement. Engagement. They want to say, they are shouting to the clubs and they are saying, guys, we are from your team, help us. We want to be closer to you. We want to have a website. We want to have social media to know more about the players. We want to have a mobile app. Now everything is up, We want to have food and beverage, when we go to the stadium. We go to the stadium, we have things. Let's have drinks. Let's have a VIP zone. Let's have a fun zone. Let's have a fun zone. I'm sure that, many of you've been in the US. I know several of here. When there is a match and the match starts at 6 p.m., the guys, they go at noon. They go at noon, plenty of friends. They put the barbecue, they spend time. And inside the stadiums, they have plenty of food and beverage, but they want to enjoy the moment. They want to share, values. They want to share, relationships. It's very important, to do fun zones. I haven't seen any fun zone, in Saudi Arabia. It's important. It's important. I haven't seen, sorry?
This happened in Eastern region. There is game between Ittifaq and Galatasaray. They bring catering for the
Okay, wonderful.
food trucks.
Good. This is something that has to be done. This is something that, the clubs, they have to give, to their fans. Fans outside the stadium, loyalty programs, plenty of things. But, why at the end this is important? Why is important? It's important because of this. Again, Deloitte, when we were talking about fans earlier on, I was saying, it's important to make a segmentation of our fans because not all the fans are equal. There are people that they love the club and they go once in a while. They go when, some friend says, let's go to see the match. Okay, I'm not saying a team because I don't want people to say, hilala. Some others, they love the game and they go more often. They go to all the important matches, they go. And then there are the fanatics. Call them fanatics, call them partisans, depending on the region, the segmentation of fans is different. But it's important to have a segmentation. It's important that the club, they know what type of fans they are having. They can group them in 3, they can group them in 4, they can group them in 5, doesn't matter. They have to make the analysis. It's very important because if you don't know the loyalty that you have with your fans, do you know how much they are spending? You don't know, what is important for them, so you are not able to give them, the elements that they want to have. For example, in this analysis was saying, fanatics, those guys that, are engaged, have more affinity, high, those guys, they are going to spend 6 times more than the casual fans. For a club is important. Why for a club is important? Because at the end, and we haven't said that, but it's important, is that money is the other important thing. Funds are important, but the dollar or the real or the euro is a very important element. How the clubs get the money? There is no secret, It's no secret. TV rights, everything related to ticketing, to stadium, match day, match zone, things like that. Third element is about the sponsorship, marketing, advertising, all of that. And the fourth are titles.
Is this right?
Which is true is that the number one is TV rights. Some countries, they need to do an effort. I think that, in Saudi Arabia, there will be a coming negotiation on TV rights, and this is something is important. But TV rights in most of the countries is the most important. And then sponsorship and what we call operations at the stadium, it depends on the clubs. It depends on the countries. But the fourth one are titles. And believe me, if you win a Champions League, or the same in Asia, there is a bunch of money that comes to the club. Bunch of money. But remember what I was saying at the beginning. At the beginning I was saying Manchester United didn't win a Champions League in few years, and they are ranking #1. This is the best exercise that from a marketing point of view or from a strategic point of view, a club can be done. Another thing, we are not talking about the tactics, the dynamics, if it has to be a 4-3. We're not talking about this. This is specialized people that has to be done. But on the marketing, on the business side, we have to work on the brand identity. We have to work on the analysis of the fans, and especially we have to engage the fan. We have to give them a little bit of what they are giving to the club, because the relationship is not the same. So 6 times more spending a fanatic fan than a casual fan. But the analysis, and this is just one example, if we look at the season ticket holders spend as well 4 or 5 times more than a casual thing. If we look and we make a segmentation of the fans, and we look at have you heard about millennials? Millennials, against the Generation X, or against, again, those guys, they are saying, for us, what is important is the meet and greet. We want to find the people. So please, if there are people from clubs here, analyze your fans, segmentate your fans, and engage your fans. Okay, not only the fans of today, it's important the fans of tomorrow. And I'm saying this, and there are things that you may agree or not. There are things that I don't agree. Here, for example, an analysis done, they are saying that, there are many fans across several countries, and they are saying that, pricing usually is a bit high. They are saying that they would like to see, more activation in terms of viewing with virtual reality, with more cameras. Okay, there is a nice, interesting. The importance of this slide is, let's not only analyze the fan of today, but the fan of tomorrow. Why I'm saying this? Because we are moving into the business. We are moving into the business, and I wanted to show you 2 examples that are not football, because we are always talking about football. So 2 examples that are not football. This is just to show you that sports continues booming. The CAGR, the compound annual growth rate, is still very strong. If we look at the opportunities that we have, and this is very general, it's not only football. The fans, the media, the brands, all of that, is still plenty of money. I was saying about the fans, but I repeat again, and I mentioned that picture that I saw in a locker room in an Italian club. The same thing about the fans, that let's pay attention to the fans. I'm saying the same about the sponsors. Sponsorship is not just to write a check. Sponsorship is about activating a sponsorship. Because, believe me, to find a sponsor is very difficult. It's very difficult. It's very hard. When you convince them, when you tell them, when at the end they say, yes, I'm going to be a sponsor, what I want, when they are saying yes, what I want is not to do the same effort 3 years later. So, once a company says, I want to invest in that company, in that team, let's activate. Let's make sure that the return that this company is hoping from the activity goes well. But let's move into all of this. You like Olympic Games? You like Olympic Games? Yes. Would you like to have the impression that you have participated in an Olympic Games? Okay. Out of the 2 examples, one is a very normal one, is this one. The second one is a little bit more technological. But let's see this. This is in Barcelona. This is not Barcelona. That was Beijing. Do you see the status of the stadium? What a pity, right? What a pity. That was Los Angeles, you know. That was grass, Look now, plenty of burst. This is London. You see the stadium, how London is now? This is happening in most of the cities that have had Olympic Games. They are spending fortunes in making the environment, making stadiums, making pools, making plenty of things. Sometimes, most of the cities, they have a deficit, huge deficit. And once the Olympic Games are gone, this is what happens. But you know what? You know, those places are premium places. If there are people on real estate here, they would like to get those places. Usually are premium places in the center, in the best places. You know, it's amazing. So when you look at this, you say, you know, what a pity. Let me show you this. We had an Olympic Games in Barcelona, 1992, okay? This is what a group of people, a group of investors, they said, no, let's take all the facilities and let's make a sort of new Olympic Games for people to come and to try. So people, they go, they try, they do exercise, they are in the Olympic Stadium, they can run, they can be friends or not friends. They say, okay, in 10 minutes there's going to be, you know, 100 meters long, you know. They try. They have a final picture. They have plenty of activities to do. Basketball. This is inside the stadium. Kids, they can play. They have a little coach. They tell them. They can try a sport that, you know, they have seen on TV, but, you know, they have never tried. They're doing archery as well. They can, you know, play to football and to kick, you know, to a goalkeeper and have, you know, 36 cameras, you know, taking this. They can do, you know, motorbikes. It's not Olympic, but, you know, they can try motorbikes. So at the end, they have taken one opportunity that, you know, in plenty of cities or many cities, you know, they are having this in order to say, this is as well an opportunity. This is a sport. This is allowing sports, allowing people, you know, to practice and to do activity. CNN, it was covered internationally. ABG has got, our company, we have got the rights, you know, for the Middle East in order, you know, to find investors. Why? Because they have succeeded Barcelona, but they are going to do it in the Middle East. They are going to do it in China. They are going to do it in, and they are going to do it in places where the stadiums, the pool, the tracks are almost falling down. So nothing to see about football. There's nothing to see about football, but this is a sports. So this is an opportunity. And this is also about branding, because you say about, you know, Olympics, you know, has an identity behind. And fans. In that case, fans is the general population. People that they like sports. People that they want to go with family, with the kids, to try to pro. Companies, they do offsites, they go there. So very general, no high tech, an opportunity that is it was in front of us, but, you know, 1 year ago, 2 years ago, a group of people from Barcelona, they said, this is an opportunity, let's do it. Okay? Have you ever heard about eSports? Have you heard? One? Who else? Nobody else? Two people have heard about eSports. What can you imagine that eSports might be? Few guys, you know, with a computer, with an iPhone, you know, doing something? PlayStation, sort of PlayStation. Do you want to see, you know, what is the future? The question is not if that it's going to come here or not. The question is when it's going to come, because it's going to come for sure. The question is when. This is eSports. This is eSports. This is eSports. This is eSports. It's not a guy in his room just seated, you know, playing with the PlayStation. This is a team. There are teams all over the world. This is a team, but there are guys, individual guys. That guy over there, he's making $4 million a year. Oh my God. Yeah, oh my God. Now I'm saying, you know, I was saying to my kid, I don't want to play that with you. No, I would say, you know, I would like to learn. You know, it's a bit late to me. This is eSports. Those are the teams. Plenty of teams. Gerard Piqué is investing a fortune to create a team to participate on that. Plenty of people in the US, plenty of people in Europe. This is coming. Okay, someone in other conferences and lectures that I do, there was someone said, but this is not a sport. I'm not going to enter into the discussions. But this is called eSports, and this is booming. And most of the people investing and being there are people on the sport industry. Those numbers are from, I think it was 2015 or 2016. There was an event done in 4 different sites, 4 different cities. The 4 cities, they gather more than 100,000 attendees. And the viewers were more than 50 million viewers. Okay, things will come, plenty of money there, plenty of investors, plenty of sponsors. This is the future. We will continue having football. And I'm sure that, in 10 years from now, we will meet again here and we will look backwards, and Hilal and Nasser and all those beautiful teams that you have here, they will have their team on eSports as well.
They are doing programming or what?
Sorry?
What they are doing, the eSport team?
They play on, there are several games, there are several games, but those games, is not that you and me, we are with a PlayStation, with one TV, and we are doing this. So, we are doing this, 1-to-1 or team against team, but there are 50 million people looking at the game that we are doing. Okay? Let me just to make a summary, because I was asked to be short, and I'm stretching a little bit the time. Sport is about passion and branding. Many other things, but sport is passion and branding. Branding gives us, a unique identity. This identity is going to increase the trust, is going to increase the loyalty for us to have more fans. The more fans we have that are passionate, the best or the less worst is going to be the fall down when we are not doing right. Because remember, football and a league is a roller coaster. A roller coaster. When things go well, it's wonderful. When things doesn't go well, I wouldn't like to be, on that place. Okay? Understanding who your fans are, understanding where they are, understanding why they are fans. This is a must, and clubs, they have to do market research. Clubs, they have to do analysis. And just to finish, football is more than a sport. In Barcelona, we say that our club is more than a club. But it's also a business. But because we are in a chamber of commerce, and because not everything is football, and within a sport there, I show you a couple of examples that were not football, one very classical, using existing installations, and another one a little bit more techy. But let's look around, because if we are able to combine fans, customers, supporters, let's name it whatever you want, with branding, a good identity, there is plenty of business out there. I thank you very much to keep with me. I don't know if you have any question. I know that Hilal is playing, in short, but I want to thank as well Dr. Sultan for having ABG in this session, and I want to thank, to have, a marketing committee, because this is very, very important. Thank you very much.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. نشكر تسوير لندن على المعلومات القيمة اللي قدمها اليوم، واللي نرى فيها فائدة للجميع إن شاء الله في مفهوم التسويق الرياضي للاستفادة منه في أعمال الجميع وفي التوجهات القائمة بإذن الله. الآن الأخوان اللي عنده سؤال حول المحاضرة، نتمنى تكون الأسئلة موجهة، ما يكون مداخلات على المحاضرة مرة أخرى. فالأخوان أي سؤال يكون باللغة العربية وحيكون في ترجمة للمحاضرة.
There is a lady over there.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. خالد ربعان، مستشار التسويق الرياضي. أنا بسأل سؤال في فترة من الفترات اللي غادر فيها رونالدينو وإيتو وبعض اللاعبين السوبر ستار برشلونة، يعني الفترة بين 2008 إلى 2009، وهذه كانت أنا أتوقع، أنا بالنسبة لي أنا أحس إنها فترة حرجة جدا من بعد ما غادر السوبر ستار بلايرز، يعني اللاعبين الكبار جدا، وبدأوا بلاعبين هي أكاديمية لاماسيا. يعني كانت استراتيجية قوية جامدة بالنسبة لبرشلونة في التغيير من نقلة كبيرة بين السوبر ستار بلايرز تو لاماسيا بلايرز. يعني أنا ما أدري وش كان الاستراتيجية اللي سووها واللي عملوها في فترة الانتقال بين السوبر بلايرز للاماسيا بلايرز.
You know, I was saying at the beginning that clubs, they focus a lot on the short time, and it's normal that they focus on the short time because, you know, the goal with the clubs is match after match. You know, the important is next match, and you know, when they win or lose, the important is the match. So there are many clubs that their strategy is to get good players. Is what in marketing we call brand ambassadors, because the marketers will think that, you know, if we get a good player, that player is going to drag a lot of fans, and those fans are going to be great because they're going to fill the stadium. But when that happens, if the results go well, that's true. But many times there are new fans that come because, you know, we have hired a very good player, but if it doesn't work well with the player, they do not come to the stadium. So it's a very risky. So if you have Ronaldo, I was talking about Barcelona. If you take Ronaldo, very good player. You have Messi. You have plenty of very good. They are not sure. They can bring and they drag. But the important for a club, you know, all the fans are important, but the important for a club is to have more fanatic fans than casual fans. Because the casual fans, if results are not going well, next time they are not going to come to the stadium. And that's because, you know, after, you know, 2-3 years already in Saudi Arabia, I realized that sometimes the stadiums are not full. And, you know, this is something that, you know, has to go more beyond the fact of just being attached to a player or not. It's important to work on the loyalty and on the attraction to the club, to the colors of the club.
أعطى الأخوات سؤال من الأخوات. أعطى المايك. بعد الأخ.
السلام عليكم. مديرة اتصالات الرياضية نادي الرياض السعودي. بحكم عملك السابق كمسوق لنادي برشلونة، ما هي امتيازات أعضاء الشرف اللي كانت تمنح لأعضاء الشرف؟ وكيف كان وما هي أنسب طريقة لكسب الرعاة الدائمين؟ شكرا.
Well, I do not have a magical solution for that, unfortunately. You know, to me, the important, you know, with the sponsors is to be very transparent. Because I was saying earlier, you know, it's not just to write a check. You know, the important is to be able to approach companies saying, those are our values, this is our storytelling, this is our history, because at the end, with all those elements that creates an identity of the club, an identity of the thing, this is what companies, they might willing to share. I don't want to say a name of a sponsor here, but let's say Mobile, for example, great company. You know, nobody is going to go to Mobile to say, listen, if you are joining our club, you are going to have plenty of awareness. Everybody knows Mobile. Everybody knows all the telecoms. So that may happen with a company that, you know, is looking for awareness, is looking for visibility. But, you know, big sponsors, they are known. What sometimes the sponsors, they are looking is to have an attachment to the values that are representative of the club. For example, in Barcelona, when we signed with UNICEF, there were many companies saying, listen, those values that you are showing to the world, we want to share that. And you know, we were having Audi, we were having, you know, big names. And those big names, they were global names. But at that time, they said, we want to share values with a club that is saying that children are important for them. Okay? But I think that the important is to be transparent with the sponsors, because if not, it happens what happens with the fans, that at the beginning, the brochure is plenty of color, it's very shiny, but you know, once you know they have signed the agreement, then you know you open the box and you realize that you know what you have is black and white, and you know something that you know it's quite rough. Thank you.
محمد مترجم. شكرا لغرفة الرياض وشكرا للسيد لاندر. سؤالي عن البراند هوية الأندية تحديدا. مما لا شك فيه، أكيد أن لديكم خبر أن الأندية هي من القطاعات التي سيتم تخصيصها ضمن الرؤية 2030. السؤال تحديدا، الأندية الآن هي ملك للدولة وسوف يتم خصخصتها، لكن الأندية دائما يتم الحديث عن أنها أسست من قبل أفراد. يعني على سبيل المثال أنت ذكرت الهلال كثيرا، والهلال دائما يتفاخرون بأن الشيخ بن سعيد هو مؤسس نادي الهلال ومؤسس أيضا أندية أخرى. السؤال القادم في المستقبل حين تتم خصخصة هذه الأندية، هل لهؤلاء المؤسسين حقوق ملكية في هوية النادي أو البراند حق النادي؟ كيف سيتم حسابها؟ هل يعني صادفتم شيء من هذا القبيل؟ أنا أعتقد هذه إشكالية سوف تأتي يعني في قادم الأيام، اللي هي المؤسسين الفعليين للأندية، هل سيكون لهم هل سيكون لهم حصة في البراند حق الوالي والبراند حق للنادي؟ هذا هو سؤالي. شكرا.
Yeah, I think I've understood the question. Privatization is one of the most important things that is going to happen in the country for the Saudi football. I know, you know how the clubs are organized. I know the by knows. I know, you know, the governance they are having. But the big change in Saudi football will happen with clubs are privatized. Because at the end, I'm not going to put the example on the Saudi. I'm going to put an example in Spain, because you know, 20 years ago, Spanish clubs, they were as well associations. Currently, there are only 4 clubs that are not privatized. Barcelona is one. Barcelona, Real Madrid, Osasuna, and Bilbao. There are only 4. But at that time, what happened? That you know, it was a disaster. Most of the clubs, they were in bankruptcy, and I think that you know, more or less, is something that happens as well. Clubs are having a huge deficit. They continue because football, from a social standpoint, is very important. But you know, if a club, there would be a company, many of the football clubs, not only in Saudi, in many other countries, they will be already out. So what is going to change? It's going to change at the moment that either one person, either a group of persons, either a mix of members, socios, or even a company, they acquire a club, then what is going to change is that in the past, or a businessman, they run their companies with the head. But what happens is that, you know, when those businessmen, they are running a club, they are doing it with the hearts, and things change completely. So it's very important to professionalize, to look, you know, the business side of the club. Always there will be tensions, because at the end the clubs, what they want is to have more and more money to be able to get more and better players. And that always won't change. It will be like this. But the important is that a club that has no money cannot spend millions on something that they do not have, just thinking on the future. Yeah, because if I pay that, you know, I'm sure that I'm going to make the championship. If I make the championship, I'm going to make a lot of money. But, you know, that happens only with one club. That only happens with one club. Okay?
Salam. Welcome, Basim Salam. Thanks to Riyadh Chamber, and special thanks to the Committee of Marketing for bringing such a good opportunity. حاضر.
أبشر.
طيب سؤالي أول شيء شكرا للغرفة التجارية وغرفة وشكر خاص للجنة التسويق على استضافة مثل هذه المحاضرة لأهميتها. سؤالي للسيد لاندر عن تجربتهم أو إذا كان لديهم تجربة في موضوع ما أعرف اسمها بالإنجليزي العربي صراحة الميرشندايزنج للأجهزة لأنظمة للأندية وكيف بيعها وهل استخدام شركات يعني متخصصة في الميرشندايزنج أو أن تكون الأندية نفسها تبني براندنج خاص فيها في ميرشنتس معينة وتبيعها داخل المملكة أو داخل الدولة ومثلا تورد سبلاير ثاني برا هو اللي بدأ يبيع في منتجات أخرى. فعليا الميرشندايزنج هي بزنس اوبورتونيتي كبير للفانز والمهتمين بالانديه وكذا. فبقى اعرف هل الافضل ان يكون السولوشن داخلي من داخل النادي هو اللي يبني ويطوره ويجي يسويها او عن طريق مثل سبلايرز او شركه تزود هالمنشنز.
Thank you. Merchandising is a very specific and also a very detailed question. Clubs, they do merchandising by two ways. Either is from licensing, so they have the rights and they give the rights to a company specialized in merchandising, or they do it by themselves. To do it by yourself, you need to have a huge structure. You need to have a huge structure, and you need to know how to do it, because it's not only doing jerseys. Doing merchandising is doing plenty of things, from a pencil to a book note to a iPhone protection. So my suggestion at the beginning is to give the rights, to negotiate the rights, with companies that are specialized on that. And this is one of the things that surprised me. There is such a passion and such a following of the clubs that, sometimes I'm astonished not to see that much merchandising, because really is an important source of revenue for the clubs. It is. Not only the product itself, also the retailing. Because you can sell the products in your Nasser or Hilal store, but you can have plenty of products in many other stores. So, the wider the distribution, the better. And this is something that, is short-term money that, clubs, they can do.
السلام عليكم. عبد الملك الضعيان، خريج إدارة والتسويق الرياضي من أمريكا. الأندية السعودية متجهة للخصخصة مثل ما قال الأخ، وكان قرار فيه مخاطرة كبيرة في وجهة نظري. لكن هل في وجهة نظرك ترى أن الأندية السعودية أرض خصبة، الكرة السعودية أرض خصبة للشركات بأنها تدخل وتستثمر فيها بمبالغ عالية؟ وهل لو كان لك قرار في شركة أو أنك مالك هل راح تستثمر في أحد الأندية السعودية؟ شكرا.
I don't know if I understood well. Yeah, I think so. Out of the, well, maybe not all the clubs, that would be a good opportunity. But you can have a club, you can run a club, a middle down table club. The important is that you manage the revenue and the expenses. If you are in number 12 position and you want to spend like the number 5, is a problem. But they are in Spain, in many other countries, in Italy, in the Premier League is very good example as well. There are small clubs that they are running well. They are private. They belong either to a group of people, to a group of shareholders, or to a company. For example, in Italy, there are clubs that belong to companies, and that's a good opportunity. The important is to run not the sports side, but the business side as a company.
تفضل.
السلام عليكم. عبد الله الجاسم من تشيلسي السعودية. أنا حديثي عن اتخاذ قرار جريء برعاية اليونيسيف، كيف تم اتخاذه مع برشلونة. احنا نعرف انه دائما في برشلونة كان حزب معارض لرعاية اليونيسيف المجانية. احنا نعرف ان تيشيرت مثلا تشيلسي يوكوهاما 40 مليون، 70 مليون شيفرليه مانشستر يونايتد، قيمة كبيرة جدا. كيف إدارة برشلونة قدرت أن توافق على رعاية اليونيسيف بشكل مجاني؟ احنا نعرف مثلا كثير من الأعمال الخيرية والأعمال التطوعية تقيمها الأندية، لكن الآن برشلونة مع الخطوط القطرية مع الشركة الصينية الجديدة، هل التجربة كانت ناجحة؟ حاب أسمع هذا الموضوع. شكرا.
It was a very good experience when we did the deal with UNICEF. Business-wise, I understand that, you know, the next board members, when they arrived, they said, listen, the opportunity cost of the jersey, rather than giving 2 million, we can get 50. You know, and, I was saying the other concept beyond the funds is the money. Money is important for them, because with that you can get better players, you can do plenty of things. To me as a member, I prefer to keep with UNICEF. But you know, it was something, because I did the deal. So, but I can understand that a club says, listen, you know, rather than paying 1, I'm going to pay 3, but I'd rather, you know, to put a company that is going to give me 50 million. From a business standpoint, I can understand that. From a heart, I prefer to have UNICEF. But you know, UNICEF, the good thing is that UNICEF still is on the jersey. It's on the back, but it's still on the jersey. Now, the move from Qatar Foundation at the beginning to Qatar Airways later on, and now next season to Rakuten, you know, it's a matter of money. At the end, clubs, they trade the jersey. They trade the jersey. The important, and that was one of the big concerns at the beginning with the members of Barcelona, is that the identity that the club was having UNICEF is not the same as the identity having Qatar. Okay, it was perceived in a different way. But you need to find always a balance between money, identity, short-term, long-term. Well, we think that now with Rakuten, you know, that they are pretty strong. It's going to be also, you know, a good job for the club. Okay. Okay. Yes.
الأخوة الكرام، الوقت تجاوز الوقت المحدد لنا، واليوم عندنا سفير للوطن لديه مباراة. أنا ماني هلالي عشان ما حد يحسب علي، لكن هذا سفير للوطن وكلنا ندعو له بالتوفيق اليوم في مباراته، وحرصا على وقتكم الثمين وتتمكنوا من مشاهدة المباراة. نحاول نختصر وقت المحاضرة، ونشكركم جميعا على الحضور، ونراكم إن شاء الله في فعاليات التسويق القادمة. والآن مع تكريم الأخ السيد لاندر، وهو من الأسماء اليوم اللي أثبتكم. ولا ننسى أنه التواصل معه في شركة ABG، هو مقيم بالرياض، بإمكانكم الاستفسار والأخذ الأجوبة على الأسئلة الخاصة بالتواصل معه مباشرة في مقر مكتبهم بمدينة الرياض. فبإمكانكم أخذ عنوانه مباشرة والتواصل معه بإذن الله، ونراكم إن شاء الله على خير. شكرا لكم.